Aloha, great job today. We're gonna do a quick chord review. Play with me. C major. When we play C major, we can also play both fingers right here on the A string at the 3rd fret, and then the E string at the 3rd fret. And then we play our 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the C string, and then the 5th fret of the G string. This should look like your A major, but we're gonna move that up and then bar. Yeah, cool. What we're gonna do next is take this chord from the C major and play a D minor. This D minor looks like the F major, but our finger is underneath here to get that D note. Next, we can either take this whole shape and then teeter-totter our fingers to get the 2nd fingering. Notice how the pinky's not on there, and now moving them all over, the pinky is. We can scoot that up and then bar the whole 2nd fret. And we'll talk about this bar situation. I'd like you to try this little exercise at the end of this video. It will help getting your fingers all situated to play the different types of feelings you will encounter with bar chords. After we have our D minor to the E minor, which also, as you know, can be played like this, or heck, even with our 2nd fingering, or heck, even with the G major and just add the E, they all sound the same when playing. They're all E minor. The next we're gonna go to an F major. Our F major is gonna consist of our 1st finger, 1st fret here on the E string. 2nd finger is gonna play the 2nd fret on the string closest to your nose, the A note. It has an open C and an open A, thusly giving us 2 A notes in unison. When we move the F major up here, we can't just play this with the open strings, so we're gonna need to teeter-totter our fingers, boom, and lay down a bar chord for the G. We also, since we're in the key of G and this has a high G, can play just this triangle, which leaves the G open, which is completely fine for playing a G major. When we play an A minor, we're using our 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, or 4th finger to play the 2nd fret. I like my 2nd finger because it feels good. Due to spider exercises, it makes sense that it stays on the 2nd fret. Wonderful. And then because our F note is generally our pivot note, or our C sharp is generally our pivot note, we put our 1st finger on the F and then put dual bookends, meaning 1 finger on the C string of the 2nd fret and then another finger on the A string at the 2nd fret, thusly giving you a backwards triangle looking function. Beep, boop, both of these together. It looks like a G major with these 2 notes, which is the B and the D. When we get rid of the G and we put it as an F sharp, we get a G major 7. And when we keep moving that G past the major 7th to the minor 7th, we get a F note for a B diminished or a G7. Both the same name. They're both the same chord. All chords have 2 names. It's like a first and last name. Lots of fun. So in review, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished. Ooh, I forgot it. There it is. B diminished in the 2nd fingering. We can have this one, looks like a G7, or we could bar up the whole 3rd fret, play the G at the 4th, and then do bookends on the C string and the A string. Great chord. And then that resolves to the C major again. When we do this, we see the C as the root or the tonic, the 1. Do. When we go to Re or the 2, the minor 2nd, we have a C major to a D minor. Our minor 3rd chord, which is a triad, is based off of the E, G, and B notes, meaning when we have E, G, and B, we don't have an E, G sharp and B, which would be an E major. We have a flat 3, which gives us a E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. All those nonsensical names aside, we have 5 notes, get rid of our 2 and 4, and we're left with our 1, 3, and 5. An E major has a B note, a G sharp in it, and an E note. So when we flatten the G sharp, which is the middle note, to a G, we get that melancholy minor tone. That works for every chord. Every single major can be turned into a minor. That's how they work. By flattening the median. The median is the 3rd scale degree. We also call it the major or minor 3rd. So when we play a major chord, like a C major, and then we play a C major, if we know that this is the top note of C, and then when we play the chord, the G string and the A string, both the same note, meaning with 4 strings on the ook, we need 3 strings or 3 notes to make a triad, meaning if both of those are C, the other 2 notes have to be the 3rd and the 5th because C is the 1. So this note happens to be the major 3rd. When we flatten it to make a minor 3rd, we don't push our fingers over and move them like that. That would be silly. That would be like playing a G and then squishing our finger backwards to hit the B flat. You can, but it doesn't feel good. You also could play a G like this and then just move back the first finger, which by all means does work, but it's not proper fingering as far as where you're gonna be moving later for doing melodic movements. Also, all of these are all suggestions, okay? So once you get the basis of how to do these things, like a scale playing it vertically, and then playing it horizontally, and knowing that the chords of C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major are all 7 chords in a key that has no sharps and no flats. Meaning I didn't say C sharp, D flat, F, anything else. It's all natural notes. So the concepts we learned today is in each key, there are 3 majors, 3 minors, and 1 special diminished. In the key of C major, you guessed it, it's the B diminished. I don't call that a G7 because I don't repeat things twice when talking. So why would I repeat things twice when talking about music? C, D, E, F, G, A, G7, C. I wouldn't say G twice when talking. So when we do this, that G7 has to be called a B diminished. Why? It's the 7th. All 7th chords in a major are diminished. So when we do these, we have a major function, a minor function, a minor function, a major function, minor function, diminished. 1 3 5, 1 flat 3 flat, 1 flat 3 5. Sorry, 1 flat 3 5, 1 3 5, 1 3 5, 1 flat 3 5, 1 flat 3 flat 5, and that's how you make it diminished. So, regardless of saying this, if you were to go above and beyond just the key of C major, the circle fifth takes over. 5 notes away from C is G. C, D, E, F, G. G is the first to have a sharp. That first sharp is an F. So we'd have G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, and then we go back to G. If that's a little whoop, here's the idea. G is 1, it's the major. A is 2, it is not a major, it is a minor. B is 3, it is not a major, it is a minor. And then C is the 4, which is definitely a major. D is our 4, which is most definitely a major as well. E is a minor, as our minor 6th. And then our 7th is nothing more than our 5th as a dominant. Here's the case study. Ready? If C major is built off of a chord that has 3 notes, and in C major we're playing 2 C notes, low, high, P8, it's a perfect 8th or an octave. C to C. That means there are 3 other notes. One is C, one is E, and one is G. So when playing a C major, we're playing a C major with another C. When we move our C down to a B, that gives us our major 7th. In this case, in key of C, there are no sharps and no flats in the key of C, so that would be a B note. I wouldn't call it a C flat, although I can, but we already have a C in the key of C. C, so we need to say B. A C major with a B over the top of it is a triad with the B note, making a C major 7. When we move this B down to a B flat, we now get a flat 7 or a minor 7th, which makes the C major 7, C dominant 7, or to be more, closely related to a music term, we just call it a C7 because dominant 7 gets a little wordy. The way we know this is working is when we take the fifth of any chord and turn it into a dominant. So in the key of G, we had G, A, B, C, D major. When we play a D major, the notes are A, D, and F sharp. A, I need to start at D. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. Cool. Get rid of 6 and 7, get rid of 2 and 4, and we're left with D, F sharp, and A. That is A, D, and F sharp. Otherwise, D major. And also another high A open. When we move the D note down to a C sharp or a D flat, we get a backwards looking triangle. Guess what? This looks exactly like the B diminished or the G7 does. It's just horizontally right here. Same shape, different chord. When we play this, it is a D major 7. We can add that C sharp to double it or just leave the A. It's still in the chord. This is 2 chords at once. This is an F sharp minor and a D major 7. Just the same way that when we take a C major and go to a C major 7, we're also hearing 2 chords, okay? So the concept behind this is if you can play in one key, you should be able to play in another key. For this week, I would suggest playing a 1, 2, 3, 4 progression in the key of G and in the key of C. In the key of C, it would be C major, D minor, E minor, and F major. Since we know the progression, it might become easier to see the C major, D major is being played as a C major with the pinky and then having 3 fingers just to go C major, boom, D minor, yeah? When we go to the E minor, rather than playing it like this, try playing it in the second fingering. Because now instead of having to go over and jump back to the F from the 3 position to the 4 position, minor 3rd, major 4th, E minor, F major, in the progression of C major, D minor, E minor, F major, it makes more sense rather than doing a jump to just play with the second fingering and lay down your fingers. Boom! See how your first finger is already over the first fret and ready for it? Awesome. Since I said in the key of C and in G, try and play G, A, B, and C. The reason why we're doing this is we're working on meter. It's somewhat like our teeter-totters and spider exercises, except we're going to be keeping the quarter notes super slow and anticipate the next note. If you need a reference on how this would feel, you could put both of the last notes together and do I Shall Be Released by Bob Dylan, if that works, or the band. Yeah. Dylan. And then the next 2 chords share the beat. In the key of C, we'd have C, D minor, E minor to F, back to C. My bad. So we're going to be doing a 1, 2, 3, 4 chord progression. I hope that's interesting. Make sure you keep your meter going. And if you can't switch between the chords without fumbling, slow down just a tiny bit each time. Okay? Lastly, I'm going to leave you with a exercise which helps form bar chords. We're going to call this one the bar chord maker. We're going to be playing a C major or a B major or a B flat. It doesn't matter where you really do this as long as the concept is this. When we're playing a major chord utilizing the A shape anywhere on the fretboard, I'm just choosing at the 3rd fret to make a C, C, C flat or B, B flat or A sharp, A sharp, B, B sharp or C. When we play this, I'm using a half bar, 2 strings. These are flat. The other 2, they are pointy. When I take this finger and I make a full bar, it's called a full bar chord. Same chord. I'm going to remove my middle finger, which removes the major 3rd, and reveals the bar chord note right behind it, a minor 2nd away, as being a minor 3rd. So we go from a B major with a half bar to a B major with a full bar to B minor with a full bar. You guessed it, we're going to take that B minor, keep the minor there, and then move it to a partial bar with only 3 notes down and then that 1 high G covered at the 5th. That gives us a partial bar, and then we put down our major 3rd to get a partial with a major. Between these shapes, you will find the one that feels the most comfortable for you. By going between the bar chords, partial bars chords, the minor chord, not only will you hear the difference between major and minor, but you'll start feeling the difference between the different ways to play these individual types. Again, half bar, 2 fingers flat on the 3rd fret. Full bar, same A major shape, but we're playing a C major chord with a full bar. And then when we play our 3rd finger, our middle finger off and just get the note that naturally accrues by taking that finger off, depressing that, it's landing on the 3rd fret for that minor 3rd. We're then gonna move our fingering to get a partial bar. The whole time, make sure that you keep your finger right in the middle on the back here and not shoot it up the top or wrap it underneath or over, okay? And then when we go through the process of seeing these, it should become a little bit easier to feel our bar chords for each one of these. Here's about the rhythm that I like seeing it at. I just like that feeling there. I like that one there, and I'm a big fan of the bar chord as well. Anywho, I really enjoyed doing this with you this week. Remember, when we play the 7th of any key, it is going to be the one note which is going to lead us into the next key. In the key of C, it's a B diminished, but it is formed by knowing that B diminished is also a G7. In the key of G, the 7th is going to be that F sharp diminished, but we know that the 5th turned into a dominant, D major 7. Now we get rid of that major note, and we open it up for a C, and we get a F sharp diminished. I hope you really enjoyed today's lesson. I really enjoyed seeing you, and I will chat with you soon. Aloha.